Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Now, before I get started, can I get a 1 in the chat if you can hear me? Can I please get a 1 in the chat if you can hear me? Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here, sis. Hey, Soundcheck Annette, thank you so much for being here. And I am just waiting on that one. Thank you, ladies, so much. And thank you to my moderator, Mama Bees, for being here. Okay, now, before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys that on Friday, March 14th at 2 o'clock p.m., we will be doing our every other week trivia. So this week coming, we will be doing this Friday coming, we will be doing Black trivia. So guys, please make sure you are here for that. I'll try to remember to remind you guys, but yes, be here on Friday at 2 o'clock for Black trivia. Okay, so let's get started with my review of Married to Medicine. Let me see here. Married to Medicine, and this is season 11, episode 14, I believe. So let's get started. So this episode is called Picking Sides, okay? Because that's pretty much what most of this week's episode was about. And put a 1 in the chat if you were able to see this week's episode of Married to Medicine. So I'm going to start off with Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone sitting down having lunch like they used to. I remember they used to do that a lot until Dr. Heavenly kind of came in the mix. So you didn't see them sit down and have lunch like you used to before. And for whatever reason, it's usually always Dr. Simone bringing lunch to Dr. Jackie, who is very, very picky, by the way. I always remember her complaining about whatever it is that Dr. Simone brings her to eat. And Soundcheck Annette says that she only saw the first 20 minutes. Okay, you didn't miss a whole lot, girl. I'm just gonna be honest. You didn't miss a whole lot. So she was basically letting Dr. Simone know that Phaedra did write that check for 40,000. Okay. And one thing that she said in her confessionals was that Phaedra lived on the surface and maybe she wasn't really there for them at all. But one thing that we know about Phaedra is that she's very private. If you think about Phaedra and what you've seen about her over the years, she's always been private. So that's nothing new. And I think what happened was when she first decided to come on to Married to Medicine, she had a lot of respect for these doctors and she thought that it would be a good look for her. But she quickly found out that they're just as messy as the girls on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Wow, wow, wow. My phone is so noisy. Okay. So, once she found out that they were just as messy as the ladies on Real Housewives of Atlanta, that's when she really began to be reserved and she just started to look at them in a different way. And if she was going to open up and, share with them with Toya coming off as being so nosy and always in her business, she quickly realized that it wasn't a good idea. Okay. And another thing is, it's disrespectful to clap back at your elders. And Dr. Jackie had the nerve to say when the going gets tough, she left. No you guys are my elders. I really can't clap back at y'all the way I want to. So I'm just going to bow out gracefully, you know. So I think ultimately that's what she decided to do. It's not that she couldn't handle these ladies, because keep in mind, she's an OG. Okay. So these ladies ain't got nothing on her. They're pretty much wannabes at, if you want to know the truth. So Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa meet up for some type of lunch and drinks or whatever the case may be. And I will say that that was very mature of them to try to come together and mend fences, on both of their parts. And this is the kind of resolution that you want to see, on these shows. Guys, give me 1 second. Somebody's at my door. Okay, I'm back. So, again, that's what you want to see. Like, it's okay to have the mess as long as you can, ultimately come to some type of resolution. Hey, Rain Bass, thank you so much for being here. And Soundcheck Annette said, Married to Medicine ladies are worse. Yes, at this point, because honestly, didn't really enjoy this episode like I enjoyed the first episode, of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I truly enjoyed it. It was everything that I need to see in my reality TV, real reality, black excellence, wealth, and then a side of shade. It had all of that. It had fashion, everything that we like to see. Okay. So then, while they had their, lunch, meet up, Dr. Heavenly, she somewhat apologized to Dr. Contessa, and they kind of agreed to move forward. So, they left on good terms, and she actually invited Dr. Heavenly to the nonprofit, event to help support diabetes awareness. Okay. And at first, Dr. Hemleys was like, I don't think this is a good idea with everything that's going on in a group, but this is what you guys should be doing. Forget all of the couples vacations and the drama. Being that you guys are either doctors or married to a doctor, this is exactly what you guys should be coming together to do. Forget about the drama, and all that messy stuff. This is a good look. But Dr. Heavenly, for whatever reason, she wants to reside in the drama, which is why she's quickly becoming very, very unlikable. And Greenbass said the current Married to Medicine ladies have run their course. Get rid of Elaine, Jackie, and recast. I totally agree. Now, I love the way you put that, because you left out Simone, because Simone is kind of teetering, she could go either way. It's like she's becoming a messy girl or a mean girl, but then sometimes she reels it back in. So she's kind of riding the fence. So I definitely agree with everything you said. And they do need to bring in some new couples. And I'll talk about Mimi and Steven in just a minute. Steven, a minute. So Dr. Eugene made some great points when he was talking to Toya, and he actually said what I was thinking for the most part, which is, where is the loyalty? These doctors have known each other for a very long time, and they are connected because, they're in the same field. That's the connection. So whether you're a doctor or your spouse is a doctor, all of these doctors, they're pretty much in the same circle. And Greenbass also said, yes, Simone is a follower. She will go where the majority goes. Exactly. So true. So my question is, who would side with a newcomer? And when I say newcomer, I'm not talking about Mimi and Steve. I'm talking about Quad and King. Who would side with them, looking back at the relationship that, the OGs have had all of this time? Like, it's so disrespectful. If you're not going to side with me, at least stay neutral. You know what I'm saying? Don't pick a side if you're not going to be loyal to, the long friendship that we've had all of this time. I mean, I'm just like, make it make sense. Now, it's doing too much. And it really makes things look fake when they do this. So, in the scene with Quad and King, Quad, King is saying without saying that he's just not that into you, in my opinion. The fact that he brought up you telling him that he doesn't take out the trash, you know, in some cultures, and from what you guys pointed out to me, I didn't know if he was African or Jamaican, but somebody in my chat told me one day that he's Jamaican. In some cultures, like, women take care of a lot of that stuff, even though people, when they think of taking out the trash, they think that's a manly duty. But in some cultures, women take care of everything at the home, and the men usually go out and make the money. Okay. So I think when he brought up that she had said that a few times, especially since he's usually the one that's coming to her place, he felt some kind of way about that. Okay. So he's letting Quad know that no, for right now, I'm going to keep my place, and, you have your place. And then ultimately, we can purchase a home together, which makes perfectly good sense because just like he said, she could rent out her home and they could live in the home that they purchased together, so that way everybody feels comfortable. And remember, we had this same conversation, kind of sort of, when we talked about Dr. G and Sweet Tea. A lot of people felt like he should have purchased her a new home instead of having her to come live in a home that he shared with his ex-wife. Hey, India, thank you so much for being here. And she said Quad needs therapy before she gets in a relationship. She has tendencies to emasculate men. Great point, India. And I totally agree. And it always comes out. But some people pretend not to see that. And don't get me wrong, I think her and Greg both need to seek, some type of therapy, because I think that they both have unresolved issues. So it's not just Quad. I think they both need to see a therapist, and even though Dr. G does a very good job of pretending to be happy, he does still have those unresolved issues. Hey, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. And she says that she agrees. Hey, Cece, thank you so much for being here, sis. So another thing is, when a man doesn't actually live with you, they don't feel like it's their responsibility to do any chores there. Now, if you're the type of guy that wants to just pull your weight either way, and that's just in your nature, more than likely you will do that. But some men feel like if they don't reside at your residence, all they want to do is come and go. They don't want to take out the trash, they don't want to do the dishes or whatever the case may be. And Michelle says Dr. G is a little off. He's too old to play the games he plays. Great point, Michelle. And the fact that he's saying, let's purchase another house together, when he knows that She will never, I ain't gonna say never, but she just bought that home. She absolutely loves that home. Just like she said, it's the first home that she actually purchased for herself. Like she's not trying to leave there. And I think he's saying that because he knows that she's not going to leave her home. So for me, that's a big red flag when it comes to King because she's not ready to leave her comfort zone. Okay. And Michelle said he's a psychiatrist, he's a manipulator, and he needs therapy. And I feel sorry for Sweet Tea. Yes, sometimes I feel that way too. And then sometimes I actually like their relationship. Like somewhere in the middle when it comes to those two because I feel like he does give her a lot of love and support, but sometimes men are just set in their ways. And when you run across a man that's set in their ways, you have to pay attention to the red flags, okay? Sometimes women think that they can change these men, and for the most part, it's not going to happen, okay? And Mama B says, please like, comment, and share. Help keep the network specialists in the algorithm. Please and thank you. But again, I feel like he's just not that into Quad, okay? So Simon and Cecil are still spoiling their sons. Like, oh my gosh, I get so irritated when I see them interact with their sons. And keep in mind, I got two grown sons. I mean, I'm sorry, three grown sons as well. So I totally get what they're going through. Boys are so freaking messy. Like, I literally had to have rules on every single door of the house. I had one for the bathroom, I had one for the kitchen, I had one for the bedrooms, telling them exactly what to do and in the order to do it. Okay, so I get it. But I think that they're just spoiling their kids. Like the fact that they took time out of their day to come and clean their two grown ass sons' apartment or home or whatever it is not. Okay. And then on top of that, they were supposed to pay them back for, their services. They never paid the bill. So even when Simone said that they're going to have to move back home, that's the only way to resolve the issue. She didn't say it with her chest. So I don't see that happening. I see them continuing to spoil these boys, continuing to have to come over there and clean up their nasty ass place, and them really not appreciating what their parents are trying to do for them. And Michelle says, yeah. And she also said, I wish Quad and Sweet Tea would have had a conversation before filming. And I think it would have went way different. And Greenback says, how old are Simone's sons? They're in college. Okay. So they really should get it by now. They're not little kids, they're grown ass men. And Greenback said, how, okay, that, And Cece said, Dr. G shouldn't have brought Sweet Tea on the show if he wasn't going to set her up for success. That takes money and positive attention at home and in front of everyone. I totally agree. It was really a setup for disaster. If he wasn't going to completely have her back, especially with these mean girls, like that was a real setup. I agree, CC. And India said they act like Cecil. Really? Cecil does act like a big kid sometimes. So I totally get that statement, India. And Michelle says, 100, I agree. He loves being on TV and he thought he was going to make X mad. You think Dr. G loves being on TV? You could be right because he also seems like he's really comfortable on her YouTube channel. I think it was the day before yesterday, I watched her YouTube. And by the way, shout out to her. She's already reached 10,000 subscribers. And they cooked a meal from one of his friends' books that have very healthy recipes. So, and that's one of the reasons why I, in my opinion, feel like Dr. Heavenly is jealous of Sweet Tea because, you know, from what we see on social media, whether it's his Instagram or her YouTube channel, He's always there to offer his support, her events. And Ringback says, I believe the time has passed for them to retrain them. They will remain spoiled, irresponsible brats, unfortunately. Yes, I definitely agree. Until they make them move back home and make them pay, rent even at home. And Michelle said, yes, he's trying to take over that. Oh, you think he's trying to take over the YouTube channel, Michelle? But yes, those boys definitely need to be taught a hard lesson. And I didn't get that from their scene. I really didn't get that they were trying to really teach them a hard lesson. Give me a second, guys. Okay, guys. And Michelle said, yes, I do. And she also said, just watch. He has to be on that camera and watch Sweet Tea. Pay attention to that more, Michelle, to see because I didn't think he was that type, but you might be on to something. You definitely might be on to something. So I'm gonna look out for that. And maybe he's even trying to steal her shine. So now comes the day of the event that they're gonna have. And, when they can be on their best behavior, it's great when they come together to help the community, but bringing the drama to the community events is disgusting, especially for them to be doctors and they're going to be upheld to a higher standard when they have these community events and there's drama. For me, it's really disgusting and I feel uncomfortable just watching it on TV. Even though I know it's a reality TV show, for me it still feels uncomfortable. Okay, because people come there to be educated, to get services, and to come into this with drama. I know some of the looky loos are looking because they know that this is being filmed, but still, it is a real event. I don't think that it's like when you're filming a movie and you have stand in people that are there getting paid. It's not that type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So these are real people at a real event. So either way, for me, it's a little disgusting. And Michelle said, that's what I think. Watch their show, just watch them. Yes, I plan on watching them a little bit more. And I'm going to tell you something else why I say that you might be onto something, Michelle. I was also looking at Dr. G's Instagram, and I think it was this weekend. I know it was only a few days ago. They went out on what I want to say was a date night. I could be wrong. They were together in the car. They were singing, and Dr. G was loving that. Filming them singing and stuff like that. But honey, he didn't know the words to the song when it was Sweet Tea's turn to sing her song. Oh, she did her thing. So although maybe he's trying to compete with her because she's younger, you know what I'm saying? She's more hip. And I think sometimes he's low key trying to compete and hang with Sweet Tea. Now we're going to talk about Mimi and Steve. Now, when they were first introduced to the show, and keep in mind, they were introduced because, from what I remember, Mimi works at the same office as Dr. G. So he introduced her to Sweet Tea, and Dr. G and Sweet Tea brought them on to the show. And Michelle says that she agrees. Um, but the fact that They were brought onto the show by Sweet Tea and Dr. G, and they have clearly picked a side, even though they invited them to the show. That just doesn't sit right with me. And that's just my opinion. Because again, if you don't want to pick a side, at least stay neutral. There is a thing, about staying neutral. Like you don't have to pick a side. And Michelle says, when they came in late, though, when they came in late. Oh, when they came in late to the event. Yes, because at that point, Quad left and Dr. Heavenly left with her shady ass and she was hollering something at Dr. Contessa. And that was after they had already had words, and she's right back to the same energy with Dr. Contessa when Dr. Contessa really tried to be mature about this whole situation. And Soundcheck Annette says, I agree, Dr. G. And she said Dr. G is in competition with Sweet Tea. And let me say this. That happens a lot in relationships. But if you find, especially early on, that especially when you're dating someone that they're in competition with you, that is never going to work. That is never going to work. It's just like having a friend that's jealous. Those type of situations never work. Your friends can't be jealous of you. Um, your man can't be jealous of you. It's just not a good situation to be in. Okay. And I even noticed that they kind of fight to talk. Like even when they're on her YouTube channel, it's just like they are both trying to be the one to speak. And a lot of the times I find that she'll stay silent so that he can speak. But a lot of times he doesn't even give her the opportunity to respond. And Cece said, is Dr. G competing with Sweet Tea or trying to keep up with her? I said that, Cece, I said that it appears that he's also trying to keep up with her because she's more hip than him because he's older. So I definitely believe that he's trying to keep up with her. And maybe so, it still might be a little bit of competition as well. And Michelle says, I'm talking about filing. Filing. Huh. So, so again, I applaud Dr. Contessa for trying to be the voice of reason within this group. And she's actually been trying really hard to be the voice of reason, to kind of stay neutral. And she's pretty good at doing that. Trying not to pick sides, saying the right words to not make anybody feel uncomfortable, to hear everybody out and let everybody have a voice. But Dr. Heavenly always finds a way to make it seem like Dr. Contessa is just crazy, like she's always doing too much. And I think she doesn't want Dr. Contessa's light to shine. And I think that she sees that everybody is really starting to feel Dr. Contessa because at this point, she's my favorite on the show. Real talk. I love Dr. Contessa and everything about what she brings to the show. I like Dr. Contessa. So I think that Dr. Heavenly at this point is a little intimidated by Dr. Contessa. And that's pretty much what it's given for me. Give me 1 second. And Dr. Heavenly is always loud and wrong. Okay. She's always loud and wrong. And she always have to just, you know, make a grand entrance, leave, you know, and make a statement. It's just always the same. And Michelle said, but why I can't give my opinion of what happened? I should be able to tell you that she's wrong and still stay out their situation. And which situation is that? When you said I'm talking about filing, I'm not really sure what you're speaking of. Could you elaborate, Michelle? Everybody is welcome to have their own opinion over here, and we're able to agree and disagree. I just didn't understand your comment. And she said, I'm sorry they came in late filming. Oh, yes, they did come in. Dr. G and Sweet Tea did come in late, and she did let Dr. Contessa know that they would probably only be able to come there and, for about an hour. That's what was said. And Michelle said, she is crazy. She is a Gemini. She can't help it. Now, I know a lot of people are not into the signs. I am one of those people that is into the signs. So I do take your zodiac into consideration. And once I know what your sign is, I can adjust, to your personality because Geminis, I have two sons that are Geminis and they are wild. Okay. So I recently, well, not, I'm going to say recently, Geminis are not, you know, a sign that I want to date. Let me just say that. And Michelle said, Dr. Contessa forgot she said all of those things about her husband, and then she blamed Dr. Heavenly. Yes, here's the thing, Michelle, and I like your feedback. Sometimes when you think you have a good friend and you have somebody that you can share things with and open up about some things that you might be experiencing in your marriage, um, and then later on, that same friend that you chose to, be a safe space, when they turn on you or when y'all fall out, then now they're throwing everything that you said to them, up in your face. That's not a good look. So that's what I think happened. She admitted that she said some things to Dr. Heavenly when she thought that, they were in a good place and, they were good friends at the time. But everything that she did say to Dr. Heavenly, she threw it back up in her face and used it against her when sometimes things can be taken out of context. You know, what I'm saying to you, you might hear it differently than what I'm saying. And that just might be a one time situation, or so it could definitely be taken out of context. And that's just me playing devil's advocate and giving you some feedback. And Michelle says, but every reality show has one Dr. Heavenly. You got Ashley. Yes, you got Ashley and you got what's her name? Sherelle. To me, they're both very similar. And then she says, filming, I apologize, filming the couple, they came in later on. Yes, got it. And Reenbass says, it doesn't sit right with me either. They jumped right into the conversation against Sweet Tea and Dr. G. I don't like Dr. G, but their friends should have had their back. Totally agree, Reenbass. And Michelle says, I'm a Gemini, but not that bad. Here's the thing, what I have also noticed is that when it comes to zodiac signs, when it comes to male and females, I think that you get a different perception of people. Like, for example, I'm a Libra. I have found that I don't want to date a Libra man. Okay. So, I just think there's something, different. And just like I don't want to date a Leo man, but I love Leo women. So, you just get a different version when it's men versus women, in my opinion. And Cece said, Sweet Tea and Dr. G brought on a couple who wants their spot. I can agree with that. And you got to keep in mind, these people are from ATL. Like in ATL, everybody's ready to take your spot if you want to know the truth. I could never live there. I'm sorry. I have a lot of family that live there. I personally could never live there. It's all about the glitz, the glam, the nightlife, and stepping on people's toes to get where you want to go. And just being fake and phony sometimes. Not all the time, some, not all. And Sharon says, good afternoon, the network specialist in chat. Hey, sis, thank you so much for being here. And Michelle says, I agree with you. And we just having a conversation. You see it differently, and I respect your opinion. I appreciate that, Michelle. And I absolutely, respect everybody else's opinion too. And a lot of times when somebody give me a different outlook on a situation, it makes me open up to see things differently as well. Sometimes, you can't think of everything. So sometimes when people point out certain things to me, I'm able to look at their opinion and be open to other ideas. Yes. Okay. So the bickering back and forth, especially when they were at the event, like it's starting to get old because you don't want that to be the gist of the whole entire show, just going back and forth and arguments. So we went from the couples trip with all of the, that back and forth and everything going on with that. And then we go and we do a fundraiser or, a community event. And then you bring the same type of energy. It's just like for this to be doctors, like it's really getting old. And I know that, we're on our last episodes and then we'll get the reunion and then maybe they'll go away for a while. And then maybe when they come back, they'll bring something different. And I hope that that's the case because right now, to be honest, I'm not feeling the show. At least I didn't feel the last episode. Now, the couples thing, I enjoyed that only because we got to watch Dr. Heavenly fall on her ass, when she was going up against Sweet Tea. And you know, even Toya fell on her ass. I mean, we that was kind of entertaining. But to take that into the next episodes with, some of the same stuff, now it's kind of getting old. And Cece said, my husband is a Libra. He remembers everything. Oh, okay. Now, let me say this, Cece. When I said that I don't want to date a Libra, man, I am very attracted physically and mentally to Libra men, but I still don't want to date them. And Michelle said, "You're right." And my son is a Libra. It's hard. Yes, I agree. Again, now I'm looking a different way. Yes. And Michelle said, well, they are gone, so it should be better. Who's going, Michelle? And Mona B said 10 likes and 16 in the chat. Please hit that like button, please, and thank you. So yes, I hope this next episode, which I think it might be the episode that they're gonna show Toya's, is it a birthday party or anniversary party, whatever it is. I think that's gonna be on the next episode, and maybe that'll be the last episode. I'm not sure, and then the reunion. So I'm hoping that it gets better. I hope they go out with the bang, but the views the ratings is not reflecting that since they've been letting, I guess, Dr. Heavenly get in her producer bag, as she calls it. The ratings have been very, very low. And Michelle says Phaedra. Okay, so Phaedra's gone, so it should be better. To be honest, they said she didn't bring anything, so it really isn't going to change that much because they said she didn't bring anything, she didn't share a lot. So I don't think that we're going to see any big changes now that Phaedra's gone. I mean, I like seeing Phaedra on their show just because I like Phaedra. I like her classy reads. I like her fashions, her hair, just whatever she brings. The fact that she's a serial entrepreneur. So I like all those things. So I'll miss that, but she just didn't fit in. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Married to Medicine. choosing sides. I hope you enjoyed watching. And if you have not done so already, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, make sure you do the same and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye for now. And Cece said Phaedra brought that check. They accepted. And let me just say this before I get out of here, Cece. Can you imagine having to pay these mean girls a check for $40,000 just for them to talk about her this way behind her back? Oh, they would not ever have to worry about me again. I will be so done with them. When I see them in Atlanta, I will go in the opposite direction. Baby, what you're not going to do is have me to, come around to utilize my money, my resources, my contacts just to downgrade me on your confessionals. It's not happening. And Michelle said she enjoyed, and Cece said, right. And thanks again for watching, guys, and bye for now.